What's going on, garden nerds? Today I am in my kitchen. We're inside. I don't think I've ever made a video inside, but we are inside because today we are talking about houseplants. Over the past year, I have become obsessed with houseplants and I've learned a lot and I want to share it with you. I am going to share with you my 3 favorite and easiest houseplants to grow because I know a lot of you say I can't keep houseplants alive. Please help me. Well, I'm going to give you the 3 easiest and tell you how to care for them. And then at the end, I'm going to give you 5 tips with maybe an extra 1 or 2 thrown in there as well, how you can keep all of your houseplants alive. So if you're ready, let's go. We're going to talk about houseplants. Okay, so first we are going to talk about the snake plant. This is a snake plant. It is one of my favorites because it is easy. You can buy this, set it in the corner and forget about it, and it's probably not going to die. The snake plant is also known as mother-in-law's tongue. Don't know why, but it's often referred to as mother-in-law's tongue. So let's talk about the light requirements that it needs. We're going to talk about light for all 3 of these plants and tell you what it needs because that's usually one of the problems for most people growing houseplants. But here's the cool thing about snake plant. It can pretty much thrive and do just fine in any light condition. I have snake plant in my bathroom, in my shower, where it gets afternoon sun directly into it. This one has been sitting by my front door where it gets no direct light and not tons of light to begin with, and it's just fine. So that's why I've chosen this one as the first one, the easiest one, because it can thrive in most every light condition. So don't worry, buy it. It'll probably go wherever you want to put it inside of your house. Now let's talk about watering. That's the second problem that most people run into. Watering the snake plant is also very easy as well. You can't, well, you can, but it's very hard to overwater it, and it's even hard to underwater it. For instance, the one that I have in my shower, it gets water more often just because it's there. I'm in the shower every day, so I look at it, I water it. This one that's considered by my front door, I don't think I've watered it for 2 or 3 weeks. Like the soil here is very dry and it still looks perfect. No issues. So that's another reason why you should buy the snake plant and put it in your house because watering, you can't really mess it up. And then let's talk about temperature and humidity. Again, they're very versatile. It doesn't really matter. I have one in my shower that gets all that moisture and humidity. Then I have this one that stays in a very dry spot. They can thrive and be fine in almost any humid condition that you can put them in your house. So this is the first plant that I'm recommending. And other really cool fun fact about snake plant is it purifies the air. It releases lots of oxygen at night and also throughout the day. So it is a natural air purifier, which is going to help your house smell better, feel better, and just overall better air quality. So go and get the snake plant. Chances are you will be successful. Okay, so now let's move on to the second plant. What is this plant? This is the ZZ plant, just like it sounds, ZZ plant. This is one of my favorites. Honestly, until a year ago, I wasn't too familiar with it at all, but I purchased it and now I love it. And now I have 2 or 3 in my house. This is one where you're looking for a foolproof plant that you can't kill. Buy this one, put it in your house. You'll be successful. Let's talk about lighting. Again, just like the snake plant, that's why I chose all these plants. This ZZ plant can thrive in almost any condition, whether it's a darker corner or whether it's in a very bright window. Again, I have this in multiple locations. I have one that doesn't get a ton of sun, and I have one, actually this one, that sits in a window here in this large open room, and it gets lots of afternoon sun. Now, the ones that get more sun are going to grow faster because sun equals photosynthesis, which is going to increase the growth rate. So if you want it to grow faster, put it in a sunny window. If you're not too concerned and just like the way it is and you just kind of want it to sit there and be fine, you can put it in a shaded corner and it's going to do just fine. So you don't have to stress about where to put it in your house and the light requirements. It's going to thrive no matter where you put it. And now if we talk about watering, again, very similar to the snake plant, you really cannot underwater this. You don't want to overwater it. And that's honestly with all houseplants. We'll talk about that at the end. Lots of people overwater. You don't want to overwater houseplants. That leads to all types of issues. So you can overwater this, but again, it's difficult. Very, very hard to underwater it. has these like thick tubers that go down into the soil. You can see it starts getting like fat right about here. And then it goes into the soil. Those are holding on to water. During the good times when it's getting plenty of water, is building up that root system underneath those tubers. And then if it goes 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks without water, that's okay because it has water, it's been storing it, and it can pull from those reserves. So again, you could put it in a dark corner in your house and forget about it for 2 months. And when you come back and say, oh, there's a house plant, there's a ZZ plant, it's probably still going to be alive and looking just fine. And if we talk about the temperature and humidity, it can thrive in almost all conditions as well. Again, that's why I chose these plants. This is very easy and simple to grow. Whether it's in your shower, I have one of these in my shower as well, or whether it's sitting in a dry corner, it will do just fine. Cool fact about this, just like the snake plant, it also purifies the air and removes harmful toxins from the air. So the more of these you have in your house, the cleaner the air is going to be. So go get a ZZ plant. Okay, so we talk about the snake plant, ZZ plant, and now pothos. Okay, everybody kind of knows these. This is probably one of the most popular houseplants, and it's one of the most popular for a reason. It is a very easy, beautiful, easy to propagate, which we'll talk about later, plant. So if we're talking about light, just like these two, it can thrive in almost all light conditions. Now, it's not going to want to get full, like direct sun. That can burn the leaves, but it can get a little bit of direct sun. But it thrives in indirect light all throughout the day. So I have this one in my kitchen, so it is getting indirect light all day long. And as you can tell, it is loving it. It can also do well in shade. It's not going to grow as much, just like we talked about with the ZZ plant, but it will still grow in a dark corner. But for best results, put it in a room where it's going to get indirect light all day long. When we talk about watering, they like to dry out between waterings. So again, you don't want to overwater it. Once a week is just fine. Probably every 2 weeks is just fine as well. So when we talk about humidity and the temperature, again, just like these two, it's going to do fine in most conditions in your house where it doesn't matter if it's a little more humid, like in your shower. I have one of these in my shower, or in a drier spot, it's going to do just fine. So something that is cool about pothos is, yes, it purifies air, just like the cool fact about these two, but it is also very easy to propagate. And let's talk about propagating these 3 plants, because again, these are the easiest. So you can propagate these and get free plants. Of these 3, you can just fill your whole house with free, awesome house plants. With the pothos, this one is the simplest out of all of them, probably the simplest out of all the house plants that I know of to propagate. It is as simple as saying, okay, this one is getting too long, snip it here, take off some of the lower leaves, put it in a glass of water. In a few weeks, it's going to grow roots, put it in soil, you're good to go. If you want to skip the whole water application and just put it right into soil, you can do that too. Just make sure that the soil stays moist so that the roots can start to root out. But it's as simple as just taking a cutting and boom, you're good. When we talk about the ZZ plant, I talked about how they have like these tubers going down into the soil. You can simply, one, cut it right at the base and put it in water, or you can come in here, take it out of the pot and try to separate them. I probably wouldn't do that. You can just take the cutting, boom, put it right in the water or soil, and it's going to propagate. The snake plant, it sends up, as it continues to grow, it sends up these little pups. So each one of these coming up is like a different pup that it sends out as the plant continues to grow. What you can do here is you can take it out of the pot. I'm not going to do it here. Take it out of the pot and then slowly separate the soil. So we're separating this one right here from the rest of the plant. We're being very gentle, trying to keep all the roots intact. And then you just go and plant that right into another pot and boom, you have another snake plant. So all 3 of these plants are not only very easy and carefree to grow inside of your house, but they are very easy to propagate. So again, you can multiply them and soon have dozens of houseplants in your house. And by the way, you need at least 12 houseplants, at least 12. If you don't have 12, go buy these 3 and start propagating them and get up to 12 as soon as possible. Okay, so now I am going to give you 5 tips for houseplants in general. If you already have some, or if you're struggling, or if you're like, hey, gardener Michael, these are, I'm glad you went over these, but I don't like these. I want other houseplants. Let me give you some general tips. The first tip is getting a self-watering pot. That is going to solve a lot of issues. If you get a self-watering pot, one, you don't have to guess when to water. This is a self-watering pot. I got these from Houseplants. You can check them out. They're a little more expensive, but they are very, very good quality. I've never had an Houseplants plant die, and every time it shows up in the mail, they look fantastic. Put a link down below. But with this, you simply put in water. The water is stored down below, and then the roots grow into the water and take up enough water or the exact amount of water that they need when they need it, so you're not guessing. In addition to not having to guess, if you have a self-watering plant, you're not watering the top of the soil, so you're not going to be dealing with the bugs. That's what a lot of people complain about when it comes to houseplants. But if you're not watering the top of the soil, you're not going to have nearly as many issues with bugs. So self-watering plants are the way to go. Houseplants, like I said, is expensive, but there's a ton of other self-watering plants or pots that you can get online and at big box stores. So get self-watering pots and you'll have a lot better chances of success. The second tip for successfully growing houseplants is to simply, every week, rotate the plant just a little bit. So plants are naturally going to grow more towards the sun because that's where they're getting the sunlight to be able to do photosynthesis. So especially if you have it in a window, every week, just rotate it a quarter, right? So you're giving the full plant a chance to branch out and to reach the sun. If you never rotate it, see, you can kind of tell here, this side has been getting more sun, and so it's growing and it's taller. This side has not, so it's a little smaller over here. So you'll get a lopsided plant if you're not every week. Just rotate it a little bit, and then you'll get a well-rounded, well-grown houseplant. Tip number 3 for growing houseplants successfully is to dust the leaves. And I purposely left dust on these leaves. You may not be able to see it from there, but houseplants as air purifiers will naturally collect dust on their leaves, some more than others. So you want to dust them. It's not bad to dust them. If a plant's leaf gets covered or leaves get covered in dust, it's going to slow down the photosynthesis process, which again means the plant is not going to grow as healthy. It's not going to get as many nutrients, and it just slows down the overall growth rate. So don't be like me in this plant. Make sure that every so often, it doesn't have to be super often, but every month or so, just come in and dust the leaves and you'll have healthier houseplants. Tip number 4 is don't stress about fertilizer. These are houseplants. My philosophy with houseplants is much different than when we're out in the actual yard and we're building soil and the microbiology. Okay, with houseplants, you can simply twice a year put in a slow release fertilizer, right? It could be granular. It doesn't have to be liquid. I prefer just a slow release fertilizer, like a 10-10-10. I'll put a link down below of one that I would recommend. But that does a couple things. One, means you don't have to worry about it. Houseplants just don't need tons of fertilizer, right? So one, you don't have to worry about it. And then 2, if you're doing a slow release fertilizer like that, instead of a liquid fertilizer, again, that is cutting down on the dampness of the soil, which is going to cut down on the bugs that are inside of your house. So don't stress about fertilizer, just twice a year. Honestly, even if you did it once a year, you would be fine. Just a 10-10-10 fertilizer, let it slow release. You don't have to think about it. And tip number 5, going back to what I was just talking about, the soil. We want indoor potting mix, not outdoor. We don't want to apply the same principles that we do outside. Instead, we want an indoor mix, which is usually just like a potting soil. You can go to any big box store. I'll put a link down below as well if you're looking for a specific one and you don't want to think about it. But just a potting soil, 50% of that, and then 50% perlite, right? So 50% potting soil, 50% perlite, and that is enough. You want the soil or the potting mix inside of your houseplants to be nice and fluffy, right? If it's not nice and fluffy and it gets condensed and it gets real moist and it stays moist all the time, that again is going to bring in bugs, and most houseplants don't want to be sitting in a damp soil all the time. So if you do a 50-50 mix and keep it nice and fluffy, you're going to have good houseplants that thrive. All right, guys, so that's the 5 tips. I'm going to give you one extra. Yes, one extra, because I'm in a good mood today. The extra tip is experiment, test it out. Don't stress, right? Houseplants can be difficult and houseplants can stress people out because with houseplants, sometimes you may see yellowing leaves and think, oh, it's getting too much water, but really it could be too much sun or vice versa, right? So the normal signs or symptoms that you see outside are actually different with inside houseplants. So how do you combat that? Well, first start with easy plants. If you're gonna start, you haven't started and you just want success, start with one of these 3 and you don't have to worry about that. But as you start to branch out into other plants, just test it out. Bring one home, put it in an area that you think will be good, and then see what happens. Give it the amount of water that you think it needs, and then see what happens. The good thing about houseplants is they'll show you very quickly. Give it a day, maybe 2 days, and they'll show you if they're not happy. And then try another area or try it a different way. If you think it's too much water, okay, back up on the water and see if it's happy. If you think it's too much sun or not enough sun, put it in a different location. And then you can start to experiment and find out which specific plant works in specific areas in your house. And then you can just buy dozens and dozens, because remember, you need at least a dozen houseplants. You can just buy dozens of the same similar plant and put them in that spot. But don't be discouraged if you buy a plant, you put it in one spot and it starts to show bad signs. Just put it in a different location and then you'll start to learn. So that's the extra tip. Be patient, be willing to learn, be willing to experiment, and soon, in a few months, you'll find out exactly what works in your house, and then your house can be filled with tons of houseplants. I love these plants. I love these up here. A house full of houseplants is a happy house. It's a beautiful house. So if you've been on the fence or you've been discouraged about growing houseplants, don't be. Go in and get snake plant, ZZ, or pothos, and you will find success. Thanks for watching, everybody. Happy collecting.